The moment I pushed open the ballroom doors, the music died instantly, like someone had yanked the power cord from the wall, and 100 overlapping conversations collapsed into one suffocating silence. I stood there clutching a creased invitation in one hand and an inexpensive bottle of wine in the other. Behind the stage, a massive screen glowed with my wife's company logo. Someone near the bar whispered, "Who's that?" Another voice murmured, "Isn't he?" Every head turned toward me, including hers. And in that suspended second, before anyone said a word, I understood something with terrifying clarity. I had just stepped into a secret that had been carefully designed to exclude me. Emily and I had been married for 9 years. Ours was the kind of marriage people called solid because nothing explosive ever happened. We rented a townhouse in a quiet neighborhood outside Columbus, Ohio. We split expenses using spreadsheets, argued over whose turn it was to handle laundry, and congratulated ourselves on being practical adults. Emily worked in marketing at a fast-growing tech company. She climbed quickly, and with each promotion came more late dinners, mandatory mixers, and networking events that weren't really optional. I told myself I was proud of her. Or at least I repeated that to myself when she said, "You wouldn't enjoy those events anyway." I laughed and agreed, because believing her was easier than asking questions I wasn't sure I wanted answered. The invitation arrived by accident, wedged in our mailbox with the electric bill. Thick cardstock. Embossed lettering. Addressed to her, with a +1. Emily froze when she saw it. "That's not for spouses," she said too fast, reaching for it. I joked, "So I don't count as your +1?" She smiled, but her eyes stayed distant. Later that night, she added casually, "It's just co-workers, and it's really formal." "You'd hate it." I nodded. Told her to have fun. Then I watched her quietly delete the confirmation email from her phone. The night of the event, she left early wearing a black dress I had never seen before, her heels tucked into a tote bag to change later. "I'll be late," she said, kissing my cheek. "Don't wait up." I ordered takeout, ate alone, and tried not to notice how loud the apartment felt without her. Around 9:30, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "He's not coming. We're fine." No name. No explanation. My stomach tightened. I replied, "Wrong number." There was no response, just a low, steady sense of dread settling into my chest. On impulse, I grabbed my keys and drove downtown, parking 2 blocks away to avoid valet prices I couldn't justify. The hotel lobby smelled like citrus cleaner and quiet wealth. At the elevator, a woman in a cocktail dress asked, "Marketing gala?" I nodded. "Big night," she said, smiling. When the elevator opened onto the ballroom level, laughter spilled into the hallway. I followed it, rehearsing explanations in my head. Maybe I'd surprise her. Maybe this was all a misunderstanding. Then I saw the banner with her department's slogan. And in the reflective surface of the glass doors, I caught the image of a man's hand resting on the small of her back. I stopped. Inside, someone raised a glass. "To leadership." Glasses clinked. Someone laughed. "You earned this." I pushed the door open. The DJ's music cut off mid-beat. Silence sliced through the room. Emily stood near the stage, her hand still linked with Daniel, her director. He dropped his arm like it had burned him. She said my name softly. "Oh." Daniel cleared his throat and forced a smile. "This is unexpected." Someone whispered, "I thought she said he was out of town." The room exhaled all at once. I smiled because my body didn't know how else to respond. "Sorry," I said evenly. "I think I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Emily stepped closer, whispering, "We'll talk later." Daniel added quickly, "Let's not make a scene." That's when I noticed the frozen slide behind them. A photo of Emily and Daniel shaking hands beneath bold text, "Promotion announcement." Applause had been planned. Champagne, too. I asked quietly, "How long?" Emily swallowed. Daniel looked away. No one answered. And the silence answered for them. Security escorted me out gently, like I was the problem that needed managing. In the hallway, Emily hurried after me, heels clicking sharply. "It's complicated," she said. "Please go home," I replied. "You told someone I wasn't coming." She flinched. It was for work. I laughed, short and hollow. So was his hand on your back. We didn't expect you to be here, she said. That much is obvious. She reached for my arm. I stepped away. The elevator doors slid shut between us, sealing the lie inside. We talked after midnight, sitting on opposite ends of the couch like strangers. Emily admitted it started after her last performance review. Before or after the late nights? I asked. She hesitated. Did HR know? I pressed. She shook her head. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, I said. She admitted Daniel had promised mentorship, advancement, support. And what about me? I asked. She whispered, I didn't want to lose everything. You already did, I said. The next morning, the real shock came from my banking app. A pending deposit labeled severance adjustment appeared in our joint account, 5 figures I hadn't expected. I confronted her. They're buying silence, she said quietly. Daniel's been reported before. This is how the company makes problems disappear. You were going to tell me? I asked. After the party, she said. After the applause, I replied. She cried. I didn't. Something inside me had gone completely still, and that scared me more than anger ever could. By Monday, lawyers were involved. Emily took leave. Daniel was transferred. HR sent carefully worded emails. Friends asked vague questions over dinner. We can fix this, she said. Fix which version of us? I asked. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. You chose that room, I said. You chose silence, she argued. I chose our future, I replied. You chose without me. The words didn't shake. They settled, final and immovable. I moved into the guest room, then into a short-term rental near work. We split the severance on legal advice. The money felt useful and wrong all at once. Emily texted, I miss you. I replied, please stop. She said, I'll do anything. I didn't answer. My life narrowed to coffee, gym, sleep. At night, I replayed the moment the music stopped, the way everyone stared at me like I'd broken something fragile. In truth, I had only opened a door. Divorce papers arrived 3 weeks later. Emily signed without arguing. I'm sorry, she said. I know, I replied. We sold the townhouse, divided books, argued once about a lamp. Friends quietly chose sides. Her company issued a values statement. Daniel disappeared from LinkedIn. In mediation, the counselor asked, any chance of reconciliation? No, I said. Emily didn't object. That was the last kindness we shared. Months later, I returned to the same hotel for a conference. I passed the ballroom. The doors were closed. I paused, breathed, and kept walking. A colleague asked, You okay? Yeah, I said. And I was. The pain had edges now, not claws. Emily moved to Denver for a new role. We don't speak. Sometimes I think about that night not as humiliation, but as brutal clarity. Secrets rely on timing and darkness. I arrived early, turned on the lights, and saw what had already been there. The lesson isn't about parties, promotions, or ambition disguised as betrayal. It's about shared consent in shared lives, the agreement to choose together, even when it costs something. When the music stopped, I learned who I was to her, and who I needed to be to myself. I didn't lose my marriage that night. I gained the truth I had been denied. Doors open whether we're invited or not. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk in, stand still, and let the room reveal itself.